stage.
Okay, hi guys. I'm supposed to be giving you 9 minutes of wild sex, which is about 8.5 more than I normally manage, but I'll do my best. Okay, so the physicists in the room are probably wondering, what is sex? I'm sorry, guys. As your boy Einstein would say, sexual success is all relative. Or in the case of my ancestors, all of whom seem to be O'Sullivans, it's all relatives. You might laugh, but the extra finger comes in really handy when you're playing the banjo. Yeah, so, where is it? What is sex? Okay, I'm gonna need a volunteer. Worth the shot. So, in its basic terms, sex is two individuals combining their genetic material to make a unique individual. And this is different to something like a bacteria, which splits to produce a copy of itself. Now, sex has all kinds of advantages in that it promotes genetic diversity, it ensures we have robust immune systems, and through competition, it will help drive evolution. Now, I'd love to pretend that this is the reason that animal sex is the only thing I remember from my zoology degree, but the truth is I'm just a massive fucking child and I find it really funny. Okay, so I could talk about sex until the cows come. But we don't have all that much time, so I'm just going to dive in and tell you some of my favorite anecdotes. So, was anybody else here raised Catholic? Cool. So you'll know that humans only have two sexual positions. There's the missionary and the guilty solitary. But frogs are way more adventurous. They have six. Or at least they did until last year, when the Bombay night frog came along. Now, I'm so sorry to report that the Bombay night frog is the name of the frog and not the sexual position. But it's basically the froggy equivalent of like grabbing the headboard for a bit of leverage. But yeah, my favorite study from last year was scientists adding a seventh position to the froggy Kama Sutra. But on to something a little bit more weird. Psychedelic, hermaphroditic, penis fencing, sea slugs. Try saying that 3 times real fast. So these guys are basically the slugs that God made on the 8th day after he dropped some acid. They are incredibly colorful. They look like ribbons. They've got weird little horns sticking out of them. They're just a mess. They're like fucked up Pokemon. But because these guys are hermaphroditic, they can be either the male or the female. And as every woman in the room knows, it's way fucking easier to be the male. And the flatworms know this too. So they both want to be the dad. And the way they figure out who's going to get to be the dad is they basically sword fight with their dicks. Now, there are no vaginas involved. The winner basically ends up being the person who stabs the other one in a process that's very aptly named traumatic insemination. So, yeah. So the dad gets to go on about his business, and the loser ends up having to be the mother to the next generation. Now, this all sounds a bit adversarial, and to be fair, it is, but it's important for us all to remember tonight. I'm anthropomorphizing animal sex because it's funny. You're all smart enough to know that you can't apply this shit to human relationships. But sadly, there is a special breed of dickhead out there who will try to misrepresent animal science sex to justify weird shit in humans, like sexism. So, for example, there are people who will argue that because chimps are patriarchal and we're closely related, we should be patriarchal as well. Now, this is bullshit for more reasons than I can count, but what really gets me as a zoologist is that these dopes think they do well in a chimp-based society. Like, they think they'd be king of the hill, but in reality what happens is some Channing Tatum-looking motherfucker comes along, beats them to death, eats their kids, and starts a new family with their wife. These are generally the same morons that will think that a man should have a say in what his partner does with her pregnancy if she happens to fall pregnant. And to those guys, I say, with all due respect, fuck off. Seriously. I mean, you ejaculated. That's so easy, I used to do it in my sleep. You don't get to hold a womb hostage because you blew your load in a vagina instead of a Kleenex for once. Sorry about that detour. But it actually brings me on really nicely to my next point. Monkeys with smaller balls yell louder. So, howler monkeys are the loudest animals on the planet. You can hear them about 3 miles away. Now, the scientists discovered last year that the big bald monkeys don't yell as loud. 'cause they don't need to. But the loudest animal relative to body size is a water boatman. Now, you've probably seen these little guys. They're teeny little beetles. They'll scurry around in a pond. But these guys can hit 99.2 decibels. It's about as loud as a chainsaw. Now, what's impressive about this is that they make this noise with their cock. Now, 99.2 decibels, just as a frame of reference, if you were in a workplace that's 85 decibels, the HSA mandates that you have to wear hearing protection. But these guys make 99.2 decibels with their dick. And the only reason we're not being deafened by their dicks is because the water absorbs 99% of the sound. But no talk about animal sex would be complete without mentioning someone who's really fucking bad at it. I see a lot of worried faces out there, lads. No? It's pandas. So pandas are so, or gofmal scale, panda a. So pandas are so bad at sex, they're basically going to go extinct if they don't get better at it. And we've gone to hilarious lengths to try help them out. It'll probably tickle you all to learn that we've given them Viagra, but my favorite thing we've done to help them out, we made panda porn. We filmed pandas having sex and we showed it to other pandas to try and get them in the mood. It wasn't very successful, which I can't say I find surprising. I don't know if any of you people have ever seen a porn video. Have you? Apparently they have them on the internet. But anyway, if you've ever seen them, they don't end in a way that's conducive to pregnancy. They rarely do. Now, I know a lot of you think that that joke is in poor taste, but when it comes to joking about panda porn, it's never that black and white. Now, I'm running out of time, so for the last minute, I'm just going to fire more weird dicks and sex at you that you get in your typical Tinder inbox, okay? So, soapery bugs only need 5 minutes to reproduce successfully. If they're in an area that's a bit of a sausage fest, they'll leave it in for about a week. Trout with fake orgasms. So if there's a male trout bothering her, she's not, not doing it for her, she'll fake an orgasm to get him to fuck off. Penguins engage in prostitution. Sorry, ideally penguins do, the rest of them don't. But yeah, these guys use stones as currency because they like making nests out of stones. And we all know that ducks have ridiculously long corkscrew penises. What most people don't know is that it explodes from 0 to 100 in 1 second, but they also ejaculate right away. Pigs, on the other hand, have massive corkscrew penises, and their orgasms can last for about a half an hour. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because I want you guys to be informed. Because there's a really important takeaway message here, and it's this. The next time somebody comes up to you in a bar and tells you they're going to take you home and fuck you like an animal, for the love of God, make sure you get them to tell you which animal.